Three. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Transitions. I'm Anne Wagner, your host, and today is a first for Transitions. We're actually speaking with Kaylee Reed on the phone from Wear Your Label from Fredericton, New Brunswick. Welcome, Kaylee.
Hi, thanks so much for having me.
Well, we're thrilled that you could join us today. So, Kaylee, you're pretty unusual in that you're a young woman and you're also an entrepreneur and co-founder of this business called Wear Your Label. Could you tell us a little bit about what you do?
Yeah, of course. So, sorry, one sec, it's like really loud here. I tried to get to the quietest spot in the studio and then everybody started coming through the door and it got real loud. So I'm escaping again. Okay, sorry.
Not at all.
My partner and I started Wear Your Label just over a year ago now, when we were both actually still university students at the University of New Brunswick here in Fredericton. And we started it out of a personal passion and a personal interest and personal experience, really. So both Kyle and I live with mental illness. Kyle has generalized anxiety disorder and ADHD, and I'm recovering from an eating disorder. And so we came up with this idea to put mental health labels on clothing and to create a clothing line that could help people create conversations around this issue that is so often stigmatized. And it's kind of transformed from an idea and a side project in school into Wear Your Label today, which is an online-based clothing line that sells all over the world. And it's been a really cool journey so far. And, we're just getting started. So it's going to be exciting to see what comes next.
And so as we were talking before the show started, your website is incredible, and it shows you examples of the clothing and why it's unique. And one of the things I was really interested in is that you refer to it as a conscious clothing line.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell us a little bit about what that means?
Of course, and thank you. So one of the things that was really important to both Kyle and I was being a socially conscious brand all the way around. So not just having a conscious cause behind the brand, but also being really conscious about all the decisions that we make in every aspect of the brand. And so we were really inspired by kind of the leaders in the industry for the socially conscious clothing sector, which is like Tom's, Tentree, Half United, these really big brands that have done an amazing job raising awareness for specific causes and giving back, but being really conscious the whole way through. And so we kind of really started our business looking at things in that way as well. So using clothing that is made fairly and not in sweatshops, or made in the USA, made in Canada. We do all of the screen printing in-house currently, actually, ourselves, and we have a couple contract workers who work with us. But also, using eco-friendly materials when we're packaging and doing all these different things, like giving back a portion of our sales from all of the profits as well to different causes. All these things that kind of integrate into what it means to be a socially conscious brand today. Because, as young people, we're really, I think we're really conscious about conscious. As young people, I think that we're really conscious about where we're getting things from and who's making it and what a product really means. And it's less about kind of the product itself, but the story behind it. And people are becoming more and more aware of that. And so that was something that was really ingrained in us when we started and as we grow as well.
And you're really setting the bar for other manufacturers now. You're showing that it can be done.
Yeah, there's always work to be done, even ourselves, but it is really cool to kind of be in this industry that it's not the norm to do those sorts of things. And so we are kind of able to network with some of the leaders who are doing this and almost be a leader ourselves in a few ways, which is really cool.
Absolutely. And one of the things that's really fascinating about your clothing line is that you say it's actually designed to start conversation. Can you tell us how that works?
Yeah, so Kyle and I, when we first started the idea, we knew that we wanted to kind of make a statement with the clothing and not just create something that was going to give back to different mental health organizations, but could in some way itself be a give back. So the clothing pieces are designed with positive reinforced messaging and little details like the tags that not only tell you how to wash and take care of your garment, but how to take care of yourself as well. And so we create these pieces both from personal experience, so struggles that we've gone through, and thinking of things that would help us feel better in these situations, or personal mantras that have gotten us through a tough time. And then we, make the clothing out of those inspirations and those experiences. And we encourage people to wear the clothing proudly, but also to use it as a conversation starter. So a lot of times it's really difficult to start conversations about mental health or maybe a person's own experiences because there is such a heavy stigma surrounding these issues. And so we want our clothing to kind of be a piece, to be a medium that can help people have those conversations with loved ones, whether they're giving a gift to them or, opening up for the first time, and have wear your label be that hug around you while you're going through a tough situation.
And I've got to say, from just reading your website, I had a big smile on my face. And we will certainly post the link to your website on our Facebook page. But could you maybe tell us some of the words that are emblazoned on your clothing line?
Sure, yeah. So we have sayings like, "It's okay not to be okay," "Stressed but well-dressed," "Self-care isn't selfish," "Sad but rad." And I mean, they're all catchy and they're simple, but I think sometimes simple is what can make the biggest statement. And so we try to stay pretty simple with all of our garments and all of our designs, and make it so that kind of anybody, whether you're personally affected or you know somebody who is, can wear the garment and still feel connected to the cause.
And they really are upbeat and cheerful messages. That's what I noticed about them.
Yeah, thank you.
And can you tell us, just from, I feel like I'm a bit of an expert having read your website, but can you tell us other ways you're starting those conversations, or should I say maybe continuing those conversations?
Yeah, so we're based exclusively online right now, and one of the more important factors in that is that we kind of have total control over the way our packages are sent out. So whenever we send an order out to a customer, it's not just the clothing. We include a lot of different resources and material things that can help that person create a conversation. So we partnered with the Canadian Mental Health Association here in New Brunswick, and I've included their pamphlets and resources in a lot of our local orders. We partnered with the CHIMO helpline, so including suicide hotline numbers in some of our orders. And then we have conversation cards, which we designed ourselves, and they're little wallet-sized cards that kind of give you a fact about mental health or a positive quote, and it allows a person to kind of use that card as a prompting piece and create a conversation even when you're not wearing the clothing. And then we also really try to use our social media as a means to help people feel connected online and share their stories that way. So we actually use role models instead of fashion models, is what we call them. Uh-huh. And we do our casting a little bit differently than other fashion houses. Instead of asking models to send in their measurements and their photos, we ask people to send in their stories and their personal mental health journeys and share a bit about maybe their struggles, but also their strengths. And so we choose our models that way and put those stories up on our blog. And that's been a really important piece for us moving forward, is not only sharing our stories, because obviously Kyle and I are the co-founders and a bit of kind of the face of the brand, but also helping other people share their stories who might not have an opportunity to do so otherwise, or maybe they're really strong advocates and they want another platform to share their story on. So that's something that we've kind of been creating and curating a bit over the past few months, and we're hoping to expand more into as well.
That sounds amazing and very much needed as well. And a non-threatening way to start those conversations, I would say.
Yeah, sorry, I missed the last bit of, you just cut off the last bit there.
Oh, I was saying it's a very non-threatening way to engage people in those conversations.
Oh, yes, yeah. I mean, when you're experiencing a mental illness, it can so often feel isolating and like you're alone in your struggles. And so for us to have that really supportive community base online has been a really, really powerful thing and has shown us just how many people really do care about this and are affected and want to kind of end the stigma and make a change.
Well, this is fascinating, and I have a lot more questions for you, but we're just going to take a short break to hear from our sponsors, and then we'll be right back with Kaylee Reed. Hi, welcome back to Transitions. I'm Anne Wagner, your host, and we're continuing our conversation with Kaylee Reed of Wear Your Label. So, Kaylee, this is all very fascinating, and I'm wondering, you mentioned that you and your partner Kyle both have some lived experience, and you decided to set out to do something about starting conversations about mental health. I'm just curious, what are your backgrounds? How did you come up with such a creative way to promote discussions around mental health?
Oh, thanks, Anne. So Kyle and I both just kind of finished university. I did a Bachelor of Philosophy in Leadership Studies, and Kyle is doing an interdisciplinary degree in Human Rights. But we both have a lot of experience kind of in the mental health world. We actually met while volunteering for a local mental health organization here, and we were tasked to develop these workshops for youth in middle school and just get young people talking about mental health in a creative way. And so we had come up with a few different workshop ideas and done that. But over dinner one night, we were talking more and really just kind of talking about our passions and our experiences as well. And fashion was something that we both had a lot of interest in and really loved. And then the mental health piece was kind of obvious because it was something that we both shared, but was also a social cause that we could kind of tie to that fashion piece. So we kind of, started the idea on a whim, not really thinking much of it other than that it would be cool to make a statement and, maybe raise some money to give back to the local organizations we had been working with. And so we applied to the Summer Institute, which is a creative business accelerator out of the University of New Brunswick. And we got accepted into that, and that's really where Wear Your Label became a brand and not just an idea. So we had access to funding and mentorship from designers, and it was really an amazing and intense 3 months where we saw what Wear Your Label could be, and we created it.
And so maybe you could tell
Kyle and I had kind of had other plans after that summer. Kyle had planned to go to law school. I had planned to actually go and do my master's in fashion in New York. And once Wear Your Label kind of started, we were both so enthralled with it that we couldn't let it go. And so we both put off our other plans and decided to do this full time for a year just to see what happened. And now here we are.
And maybe you can tell us a little bit about the response you've received.
Yeah. So at first I think it was a little bit tricky because mental health is something that is really difficult to talk about, and a lot of people aren't open to talking about. And so when we first started, a lot of the response was hesitant, people thinking that it was a cool idea, but not really sure if it was, the best thing, because it is so stigmatized. But, as we kind of started designing more and more and really building this brand into something more than just clothing and more than just about, us, it was about creating this movement around mental health. I think more and more people started to realize the importance of this issue and how clothing can be kind of the perfect way to bring mental health to light, because it's something that we wear on a daily basis, and it's something that is, so close to people. You wear your favorite T-shirt maybe every week, or you buy a new sweater every month, and it becomes really personal to you. And so if we could create something that had that same meaning but on a different level, I think people started to realize that there was some potential. And so in May this year, we were kind of very randomly picked up by the Today Show, and
wow.
The article went live on their website, and kind of almost instantly we received a dozen emails from different journalists all across the U.S., and that week we had, I think, 6 different articles go up, from MTV to BuzzFeed to People magazine, and it's kind of been just nonstop ever since. I mean, I think it took a lot of hard work and time to get there, but we've been really well received really recently, and we're just kind of on an upward spiral now.
Right. And so how are the two of you holding out with all this media attention and success?
It's really, truly been a dream. I don't think we've stopped smiling once in the past couple months. It's still just Kyle and I full-time, and we've been lucky enough to have a couple different interns work with us throughout the summer, and we're now working with some different artists who are contracting to do the screen printing work. And a lot of our manufacturing is actually going to be moving to Ontario for fall and winter because we just can't keep up with it here, which is a great problem to have.
Wow.
But it has been really amazing, and we're so blessed.
And so you also do, I understand you're a traveling roadshow to some extent. You've been doing a few shows and events?
Yeah, so we've been traveling a little bit and doing a few different pop-up shops and speaking engagements. So we actually we have a few different keynotes that we do, and we'll go to different schools or conferences or events and share our story, and more than just about wear your label, but kind of how we overcame our personal struggles with mental illness and created something positive out of it. And so we're doing a lot more speaking engagements now, which is really awesome because I think both Kyle and I love that part, love sharing our stories almost more than anything else. And so we're traveling a lot because of it, which is awesome. But yeah, we're kind of on the road more and more.
So do you post these upcoming events on your website?
You know what, Anne? I don't think we have anywhere on our website that says events, but that's a really great idea.
Well, I'm just thinking I'd love to come out to one.
We usually post on our social media, so our Facebook page and our Instagram page, and we'll post things on our blog after kind of they're done, but you just gave me a brilliant idea for tomorrow afternoon.
And I'm just wondering, because I'm thinking of all the young people who will be so intensely interested in what you're doing and would probably be interested in maybe finding out more about what you do, and maybe you will serve as an inspiration to them that they might start up smaller initiatives, but it may be something as simple as starting a conversation with someone.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just wondering if you might have any advice for young people who are intrigued by all of this.
I think truly the simplest thing can sometimes be the hardest, which is just starting those conversations. But it's also one of the most important things, because the more that we talk about it, I mean, one of my favorite things to say is that every conversation might seem like, just a drop in the ocean, but together, when we're making those conversations, we are seriously making waves. And the more people that are talking about mental health and that are, starting to open up in whatever capacity that may be, it really is going to change the way we're viewing mental health in our society. As far as getting involved, we do post a few different opportunities on our end. So we do post casting calls for role models in different areas. And people can, submit their story and photos, and we might be able to feature them on our blog. We also have a Community Champions initiative, which is kind of similar to Brand Ambassadors, but they have a little bit more of an important role. Because both Kyle and I are the only ones full-time on the team, we work with these community champions from kind of across Canada and now internationally to get feedback on new designs, new marketing campaigns, just helping us get to know better how young people think about mental health wherever they are and what people are doing. And so that's something that the application's up on our website as well.
Fabulous. And we will, here at Transitions, will post all your information on our webpage and on our Facebook page. And for anyone who wants to learn more about Wear Your Label, you can text the HBR Kia text line at 705-224-2527 and enter the keyword transitions. And then you'll get an email back with all the information to link you to Wear Your Label. So we're just about out of time, but Kayla, I'd like to thank you very much for joining us. This sounds like an amazing initiative, and I think you're going to get a huge surge of interest as you continue on in this really important work.
Thank you so much, Anne. I really appreciate the opportunity, and I think, like I said, the more conversations we can create, the better. So thank you.
That's wonderful. Thanks again. And tune in again next week for another episode of Transitions.